Thank you so much, and hello everyone. Welcome to Luxembourg. Hope you're all having a wonderful time at the Arch Summit. Thank you for being here after lunch. I know it's always slightly quieter after lunch, so it's fantastic to have you here. And of course, as you can see, we're going to speak with Serpil Timuray in just a moment. For those of you who don't know Serpil, to give a short introduction, she is CEO of Europe Cluster at Vodafone Group and a member of the group's executive committee. She also chairs the group's Global Inclusion for All Steering Committee. And we're here to discuss how to build an inclusive digital future for all. So, Serpil, are you there?
I'm here, Lisa.
Oh.
Can you see me?
I can hear you, and I'm sure, and now I can see you. Hopefully we can move you to the center screen in a moment. It would be lovely if I could have you on center screen, but if not, I can definitely see you. Serpil, welcome to us all here at the Arch Summit. I'm going to move closer to you on this screen here. I know that you had to stay in London, so it's a shame you couldn't be here. I will move back again to the center screen. Very nice to have you with us here in Luxembourg, even if it is with the beauty of technology on screen. We're going to dive right in. I know that the Inclusion for All program has been in existence since around about 2013. So what do you particularly cherish about this Inclusion for All program?
Well, Lisa, first of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm really sorry that I cannot be there in person. This is a topic that's very passionate for my heart, but also it is a very important program for our company at Vodafone. Because, as you know, our purpose is connecting everyone to a better future. And in order to deliver our purpose, we are very mindful that we need to pursue a strategy that embraces everyone's inclusion to the digital future. And this program is started in 2013, and it is mainly looking at the key issues and barriers for everyone in order to make sure that we have an inclusive program that addresses the 4 C's. And the 4 C's are for us our customers, our colleagues, the communities that we operate in, and as well as our co-partners, which are here with us in the Arch Summit.
They are indeed, and I'm glad you mentioned that, the 4 C's. I've got that written down here, and I want to start, if you don't mind, with the customers. What are you doing for customers?
Well, when we started this program, we were very conscious that our customers that are in all of our markets do not have equal opportunity to benefit from our technologies. There is a digital divide between developed markets and rural markets, emerging markets, and this is why we made a pledge to invest 190 million euros in our sub-Saharan markets to increase our 4G coverage from 54% to 85% by year 2025. And at the same time, we also looked at this digital divide in terms of gender, and not surprisingly, women are more disadvantaged in terms of access to connectivity. There's a 16 points lag between men and women when it comes to access to our technologies. And so we launched this program that we call Connect, and the target of this program was to halve the digital divide in the emerging markets that we are servicing. And we're very pleased that we achieved our 20 million target of connecting unconnected women. And that was a target that we have set for ourselves for year 2025. So we achieved it 2 years earlier. And now actually we're reworking on a new target for our future. So these are just examples on how we work on providing equality in access. But it's not only access to connectivity, it's also providing tailored products and services that help our customers in their daily needs. One example is the Mom and Baby program in South Africa, which is providing mothers, but also fathers, by the way, essential information about the whole maternal period as well as baby care, and 2 million of our customers are benefiting from this app. Another example is from Turkey, where we have launched a marketplace for women entrepreneurs, especially living in more rural areas, so that they can market their handmade products in a portal, and so they can really contribute to the economy, and also they can really deliver their social aspiration.
Oh, that one I'm sure is very close to your heart because you are Turkish, of course. I have a whole list of examples here as well. And of course, when you talk about customers, what you've really highlighted there is that your customers are indeed global and that you have this, you're honoring them when you talk about the sub-Saharan African region, of course, and the rural areas as well. But because of time, we must move on now to the second of the C's, your colleagues.
Yes, this is, of course, a great program that is embraced by our colleagues in Human Resources Department. So we have, what we have done is, first of all, we try to understand what are the key issues of our women colleagues that hold them back from excelling in their careers. Now, I want to emphasize that this is not about a positive discrimination. It is actually about removing those barriers that stand in the front of our colleagues in order to achieve their career aspirations. So we looked at the, in a way, life cycle of our women colleagues. And one thing that is very clear is that the maternal policy has been a key leverage in supporting our women colleagues, but also then we complemented that with the paternal policy. Later on in their careers, we understand that some of the women employees need to take long career breaks in order to take care of their children or also to take care of the elderly family members. So we introduced a program called Reconnect, which is addressing those women that have been on long career breaks so that they can come back to the workforce through a specific support program. We didn't stop there. We looked at other issues in the life cycle. Unfortunately, one issue that more women than men are facing is domestic violence at home. And this has actually increased, unfortunately, during the pandemic period. So we introduced our domestic violence policy to support the victims. And then we also started looking at our colleagues later on in their life cycles and introduced programs, policies such as the menopause policy. So this doesn't stop here. We will keep working on those in order to make sure that we actually remove the barriers so that our women colleagues can have equal access in career. Of course, I'm mentioning you the women aspect of diversity and inclusion program. We have started with supporting women, but we are also advancing our program to address the diversity and inclusion in every aspect, be it ethnic, be it color, and so that we are totally inclusive in our workplace.
And now we're going to move directly onto community. And for instance, I know that you have a foundation called Connecting for Good. You've also, referring back to something you mentioned earlier, you have Mama, just to give two examples of the community support.
Yes, of course. As you know, we have the Vodafone Foundation in every market we operate. And foundation works together with the local NGOs to understand the key issues in the communities and to provide programs to support them. Our programs are quite diverse, but I would probably pick examples in the area of education and health, because these are critical areas where our connectivity services can also support. On education, in the emerging markets, we have been running the instant schools for several years now, which provides digital education to students that do not have access to schools, such as children in refugee camps. And in sub-Sahara markets, we have already benefited more than 2 million students by now. and our target is to reach 6 million. In the more developed markets, we have also launched a new program, which is targeting to educate 14 million students and teachers with digital skills, and we've already achieved 6 million of that target. On the healthcare, I have given you the example of what we do for mothers, and another new example is the M-Mama, which is in Tanzania and Lesotho, and it's basically helping reduce the unfortunate maternal mortality rate by connecting women and newborns to emergency healthcare and deploying local drivers where there are no ambulances available. So these are just a few examples.
And some to be very proud of. And the final C of those four, sitting here in the room perhaps, the co-partners. What do you do to work with co-partners?
Well, first of all, we're really proud that we have very great suite of co-partners that also care for diversity inclusion as much as we do. And I think we're one of the first companies to introduce a weighting criteria in our tender qualifications, such that 5% of the success criteria is weighed towards the diversity and inclusion efforts. And I'm really proud on behalf of our partners that they have really embraced this initiative.
Yeah, and now moving on to something that's different but very much connected, and something that I know you're extremely proud of. I want to talk about Change the Face. And I must say, you've also won an award here. You've been recognized by GSMA with the Diversity in Tech Outstanding Achievement Award this year in March. So firstly, I must say congratulations to this. So how did the idea for Change the Face actually begin?
Well, first of all, thank you. This award, I took it on behalf of all of our 4Cs and also our Alliance members in Change the Face. The idea actually was a simple one, I think, which started in 2020, just before the pandemic. We have done a research. And we asked a simple question: if technology were a man, how would that person be? And not surprisingly, the answers across diverse geographies and markets came as describing technology as a person that is predominantly male, middle-aged, middle class, white. And I think, you know, this is something not a surprise to us, because we have been all working to change the face of the workforce in technology. And so we launched, first of all, the pledge campaign. So we reached out to big companies in tech sector to make a personal pledge. And we were overwhelmed by receiving more than 300 pledges to do something personal, as well as an organization, to really accelerate our efforts. Then that paved to the idea of me hosting conversations with the pledgers about what more can we do. And then these conversations actually created this amazing idea, which is an idea to form an alliance so that we collaborate together in the industry to accelerate diversity and inclusion. Now, many of the companies in the tech sector have been working on this issue, on this topic for many years with great initiatives. But the idea behind the alliance is that we can perhaps accelerate our impact by coming together as a collective movement and to really share our initiatives together as opposed to pursuing them in silos. And there are two ways we can do that. One is by sharing with each other the initiatives and our learnings, and then coming together to make those initiatives happen together. And the second one, which I'm personally very excited about, is sharing our learnings, being generous and sharing our learnings, our insights, also our failures in this topic with the wider industry and to the benefit of especially smaller companies that do not have the same level of resources that we may have as the bigger companies. So that paved the way to a creation of an open source portal, and now our Alliance members are putting all of their policies, their best practices, their learnings, so that everybody can have access to this valuable information, and they do not need to reinvent the wheel, and they can just build on to each other's great work.
Well, Serpil, that's such an outstanding achievement, and we can feel your passion through the screen about this wonderful work. I'm thinking perhaps you've even kind of lassoed UK politics into it, because they've done a very good job of changing the face frequently recently in all sorts of ways. But anyhow, back to Change the Face and everything that you're doing with the Alliance. I know that we'll be able to speak more about this for anybody who's interested here in the room. We have a panel discussion on this tomorrow afternoon. Of course, you're extremely welcome to come along and listen to that. But if you would like to leave our audience here present, and by the way, when you were saying what the stereotype was, let's use the past tense, was, of somebody who works in tech, I was doing a mental tally of who's in front of me in the audience. But I can tell you, it's quite diverse. Still room for improvement, but it's quite diverse. But I would like you to leave our audience with a call to action. What message would you like to send everyone on their way with today?
I want to say that diversity and inclusion is not a philanthropy. It's already been proven that this is doing good business, and the companies that really care for this perform better. We all know that. Now it's time to act, and it's more important than ever that we do this, because the digital adoption is accelerating, and we cannot afford to leave anyone behind. And for that, we need to make sure that, first of all, our sector is representative of the customers we serve. And for that, it's time to act together collaboratively. And this is why I would like to welcome everyone in the audience to join us in Change the Face Alliance. And my dream is that this becomes a big global platform where everybody contributes, so that come next time round, we really talk about an accelerated pace of changing the face.
Thank you so much for your time, Serpil. I know that you couldn't join us today in Arch Summit, but I'm quite sure that you'll be here in Luxembourg very soon in the near future. It's a pleasure to have you with us here on screen. You're certainly making your presence feel large, and we've left us with so much to take away on this Change the Face initiative. Congratulations again on the award you've won this year. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, and thank you everybody for listening to me on this topic, and I wish you a very successful summit.
Thank you, Serpil. Thank you, everyone.